I want to give you guys my early thoughts on Colorado versus Nebraska. This game has been on my mind for all this offseason because this is going to be a really interesting matchup between these two teams this year, because last year Colorado dominated this game 36-14, but the main reason why Colorado won was because Nebraska's offense couldn't do anything. I love Jeff Sims. I'm always going to support my Duval brethren, but he was really hard to watch. With Dylan Raiola now at quarterback, it changes everything for Nebraska in this matchup. And right now, Vegas has them as a 6.5 favorite going into this game, with this game being played a few weeks from now, the second week of the college football season. And for Dylan Raiola, this is going to be a huge big test for him, because anytime you play Colorado, everybody's going to be watching, because they're going to be tuned in to watch Deion Sanders. So, of course, they're going to be watching you in the process. And for him to be a true freshman and the game of this magnitude is going to be a really tough early task early in his career. He's going to be playing at home, which is going to make things a little bit easier. But there is going to be a sense of pressure on him where you have all these expectations placed upon you, because Nebraska has been down for so many years. And you think about how good this defense was last year. This was a top 20, top 15 defense last year. There were games when this defense carried the offense in a sense. And if Dylan Raiola can give Nebraska at least average to above average quarterback play this year, not only could they win this game and embarrass Colorado, but they potentially could go on to maybe have an 8, potentially 9-win season, which would be a huge achievement for Matt Rule in year 2. However, though, Colorado is not the same team that Nebraska saw last year. And Nebraska fans feel really confident in their ability to beat Colorado this year. And a lot of other people do too. But what people are underrating about Colorado is how improved this team is going into their second season under Deion Sanders. You see, last year when Deion got the Boulder, they just got a bunch of guys from the transfer portal, tried to throw shit on the wall and make it work, and they didn't really have too much success outside of their 3-0 start. Well, now you improve the offensive line. You improve the defensive line. You have a loaded group of wide receivers and a really good running back in Dylan Hayden. And we already know how good of a quarterback Shedeur Sanders is. Matt Rule gave Shedeur a lot of praise for how good he is. When you have this much talent offensively, Nebraska's defense, they are going to get some stops in this game, but Nebraska's offense, you're going to need to see a good amount out of Dylan Raiola. We are about to find out just how good he is right out the gate this early into his career. Dylan Raiola really is going to be the biggest factor in determining if Nebraska is going to win or lose this game. Colorado defensively, they should be a lot better than what they were last year. They have a new defensive coordinator who comes from Lou Anarumo's staff. Lou Anarumo, for those of you guys who don't know, he's one of the better defensive coordinators in the NFL for the Cincinnati Bengals. And when you get a DC that comes from his coaching tree, you can expect that this is going to be a unit this year that's going to be more disciplined. You're not going to have as many blown coverage assignments as what you saw last year. They're going to be better when it comes to wrapping up and tackling. Colorado defensively should be more improved, but their defense is not going to be anywhere as good as what Nebraska's is. And if you can come away with a couple of turnovers, if you're Nebraska, and you can capitalize early on them, that could put this game in your favor. You have the home field advantage. I don't believe that Colorado has ever played in as hostile as an environment as what they're going to play in this Nebraska game. And I know that they did play Oregon last year on the road, but this is a rivalry game, which is going to have a different flair to it. And the intensity is just going to be different. Nebraska fans don't like Colorado, and Colorado doesn't like Nebraska. But it's also going to be some more added tension because of Deion Sanders. And anytime a team plays Deion, you know that they're always going to give it their best. Dylan Raiola, how good is he going to be? Is he going to be the guy who can resurrect Nebraska football from the pits of damn near irrelevancy? This is the game that's going to be one of those tests to us figuring out the answer to that big question. Because Nebraska definitely is a way better team year 2 under Matt Rule than what we saw year 1 last year. They had some concerns at receiver and at quarterback. You got a really decent wide receiver room. Isaiah Nayer, who was a transfer from Texas, before he went to Texas, he was the best wide receiver in the Mountain West. He was averaging damn near 20 yards per reception. The dude was electric. And then he went to Texas, dealt with a couple of injuries that held him back. But Nebraska, with how good they are at receiver, you got a decent running back. You're going to have a really experienced offensive line. The offensive line in itself should prove to be a significant advantage for Nebraska offensively, because Colorado, despite the improvement that they've made on the defensive line, I still don't think that they're as good as what they need to be when you're going up against a team from the Big Ten as tough as what Nebraska is. But Shedeur Sanders, though, I trust Shedeur. He's the best quarterback in college football. If this ends up being a one-possession game late and he has the ball in his hands and he needs to go win it for Colorado, I trust him to get it done. No matter if it's on the road or in the parking lot or even in the rainforest, every time the ball is in 2 hands, he always seems to deliver. This is a game that I believe is going to be decided by less than 3 points. Even if Nebraska wins, there's no way they're going to cover that 6.5 point spread. Right now, I would take Colorado to win, though. I don't think that their defense is going to be all that great in this game. Nebraska should have success running it on this Colorado front. But with them having a true freshman quarterback, it does give Colorado's defense the opportunity to have chances at coming away with some turnovers that Dylan Raiola may give them. Now, just because Dylan Raiola is a true freshman doesn't mean that this dude is going to be terrible. The last time Nebraska started a true freshman quarterback in Adrian Martinez, he turned out to be pretty good. Dylan Raiola, this could be a game where we see him be up and down. He could have some really good moments where he shows glimpses of how good he's going to be in the future, but he also is going to have some moments where you're going to see just how inexperienced he is. And for him to be playing in a game of this magnitude so early into his career, this is only going to be like the second game of his collegiate career, and it's going to be against Colorado, Deion Sanders, against a rival, prime time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on NBC. Everybody's going to be watching. There is a lot of pressure on Dylan Raiola going into this game. And I know you Nebraska fans don't want to go 0-2 to Colorado. But if I had to give you a prediction right now, I do believe that Deion will improve the 2-0 over Matt Rule in this program. Colorado, to me, is going to win the Big 12. They're the most talented team in the Big 12, and they're being heavily underestimated because too many people are focused on what they did last year and overlooking the improvements that they've made going into this season. But this is going to be a really good game. I'm so excited to watch it. This is one of those games that I've had circled on the calendar all this offseason, and I cannot wait for college football to be back, man, because the last time these two teams played, it was pretty fun to watch until Colorado started running away with it. But I'm really fascinated in seeing how Dylan Raiola performs in this game. We know Colorado has playmakers, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders. You're going to have even more with LaJohntay Western, who you got in the transfer portal, who is a wide receiver transfer from FAU, who I had the honor of watching in person. They got a really good transfer on defense from Arizona State, who is a top 100 rated player from the portal. There are a lot of talented guys that Deion has playing on this year's Colorado squad in areas that Colorado was lacking at last year. And Deion told y'all last season that they were only a few dogs away from being where they want to be. I cannot wait for this Colorado-Nebraska game to be played this year. This is one of the games that I am the most excited to watch this college football season.